I want to start with a quick question before we go further into this video. If Frank Castle saw his skull on a thin blue line flag next to a Trump sticker on a truck blasting country music, who do you think he'd punish first? Because here's the twist nobody wants to admit. The Punisher would hate people for using the logo the way they do. Now, stay with me because by the end of the video, I'm going to explain why Marvel themselves had to step in and slap your hand and say, please stop idolizing this character. And once you hear it, you won't be able to unsee it. So somewhere along the line, the Punisher stopped being a character and turned into a sticker pack. And if you think Frank Castle would back the blue, support Trump, or even in today's society and current affairs in the world, support ICE and salute the military without question, then you really don't understand this character at all, and you look foolish for it.
You just don't get it, do you? You don't.
So, you misunderstood him completely. So, stick around, because this is where we're going to see how this trend really began. Them breaking down each myth one by one, and at the end, I'll show you the exact moment Marvel basically told their fans, no, you guys are the problem. Before we talk about politics, we need to talk about history. So get your books out, ladies and gentlemen, because this doesn't start with the police. It started with war. Yeah! So in the early 2000s, U.S. soldiers overseas began painting the Punisher's skull on helmets, gear, and other vehicles. It looked intimidating, it looked ruthless, and it also sent a message as well. But, so here's the irony though, and remember this for later. Frank Castle is not a celebration of war, he is the consequences of it. But visuals don't care about nuance, a skull doesn't come with footnotes, so people didn't read the comics, they didn't absorb the trauma, they didn't understand the character, they just thought, oh, damn, that looks really cool and badass, man. Yeah, I like that name too, the Punisher. And that is where the thing started really just sliding downhill. So we'll fast forward to now 2015. Social media gets louder, politics get meaner, the thin blue line movement grows, and suddenly the Punisher skull gets rebranded. So black and white, blue stripes, American flag. I mean, it's now ideological. And by 2017, police departments were literally putting like Punisher decals on their cars too. Remember what the Punisher actually does to corrupt cops? Oh, I'm sorry, you guys didn't fucking read that either. Silly me. And we'll come back to that as well. I know some feral ghoul is going to go in the comments and say, yeah, the Punisher would actually back the blue. A hard stop, no. And I want to be very clear here. Frank Castle does not believe in badges as moral armor. In Marvel canon, he hunts criminals regardless of uniform. Dirty cops, corrupt precincts, entire departments if necessary. He has zero hesitation about it. Frank Castle exists because the justice system failed. If the system worked, his family wouldn't be dead. And if the system worked, there would be no Punisher. So, supporting the police as an institution means believing the system fundamentally works. Frank Castle is living proof that it doesn't. So, putting his skull on a squad car is like wearing a wanted poster and calling it branding. Oh, actually, the Punisher would be a Trump supporter. And this is where people project hard. Frank Castle does not like politicians. Any of them. He's been used by the government, lied to by the handlers, turned into a weapon, and thrown away. I mean, just when he's stopped being convenient to them, they just toss him out. So you think, like, sitting through rallies, listening to speeches, and clapping for slogans is about the Punisher? Frank Castle judges people by actions, not promises. If someone stands on a stage and says, I alone can fix this, Frank Castle's hand is already near the damn trigger. And he doesn't vote for saviors, he eliminates monsters. It's very different worldviews. So don't even try to come at me with that shit either. It does not make sense. When it comes down to ICE, I have not seen anybody using it lately, but I guarantee as things start getting worse, they will start eventually paint these logos on here. So even my cats are just going nuts right now just thinking about how stupid this concept is. So Frank Castle does not care about borders. He cares more about victims, human traffickers, slavers, cartels, abusers, anyone exploiting people who can't fight back. If ICE agents were stopping traffickers, like, fine. If they were abusing power, separating families, or hiding behind just following orders, wink. Frank Castle has never respected that. Like, he never expected, like, no, just full stop. He ain't about that. So he's killed federal officers in the comics before. He's gone after CIA operatives. He's dismantled government-backed operations without blinking. Legal has never met right in Frank Castle's eyes. Yeah, but, Frank Castle's actually military, so he would back the troops. Yeah, and that's exactly why he doesn't romanticize it. Frank Castle loves soldiers. He hates the machine that chews them up. So he's hunted like war profiteers, corrupt generals, black ops programs, and shadow agencies that treat people like disposable tools. He's not pro-war. He's just what war leaves behind. He's a PTSD, like, just complete maniac that always hears these constant voices in his head from his family and this whole, like, trauma that he's dealt with in his life. So waving a flag doesn't really impress him. Taking responsibility does. Remember earlier when I said Marvel had to step in? They did. In the comics, Frank Castle literally tells police officers who not to idolize him. He tells them that if they want to be a hero, who believes in the law, structure, and accountability, look to Captain America. That's Marvel saying it directly. You're missing the damn point. That skull is not for you. Punisher's skull is not a symbol of law, order, patriotism, or even authority. It's a symbol of failure. Failure of justice, failure of institutions, and failure of systems meant to protect people. Frank Castle does not back the blue. He does not worship politicians. He does not defend borders over bodies. He does not blindly salute power. He simply punishes it. So, if you're going to use his skull to promote authority, congratulations. I mean, you've turned a warning sign into a bumper sticker. And Frank Castle has never been kind to people who do that kind of stuff either. If this made you uncomfortable, good. So comment which character people misunderstand the most, because at this point, the Punisher isn't misunderstood. He's been kidnapped by bad takes and dumb people. So until next time, please feel free to subscribe and like the video if you want to see more rants like this. And I'll be covering more superhero stuff and nerd culture in general. Till then, I'll see you all around. Later.